Hello and welcome back to an Introduction to Scratch 3.0 Part 6, the finale. My name is Laura, and today we're going to be connecting everyday household items to Scratch using Makey. Makey is an electronic kit that allows you to turn everyday objects into game controllers, musical instruments, circuits, and more. When you connect the circuit board in the Makey kit to your computer, it acts like an external keyboard, except that you get to choose what each key is and what it does. For example, you could use a banana for your spacebar, or Play-Doh for your arrow keys. And by pairing your new keys to coding blocks in Scratch, you can find entirely new ways to interact with sprites and create engaging projects. The Prince George Public Library has a lot of different tech kits that you can borrow for free with your library card, including a couple of Makey kits. So to get started today, we're going to take a look at what's inside this Makey kit and see how it works with our Scratch coding program. So let's get started. So inside the Makey kit, it comes with a couple of different things, like stickers, instructions to get you started, your main circuit board, which is in this nice Ziploc bag, several different alligator clips that we're going to be using a lot, a USB cable to connect it to your computer, and also these small wires that you can also use with the circuit board. So this is the main circuit board that we're going to be using for all of our projects. We have our space button, your select button, and all of your different arrow key buttons. And on the bottom we have the earth bar. All of the different holes in the circuit board is where you're going to be connecting your alligator clips. On the back of the circuit board we have lots of other different things that you can interact with. On one side we have this black bar that connects to different actions controlled through your mouse, and you would use those with these tiny white wires. And same with the other side, another black bar that has connections to your WASDFG keys. And again, you would use those white wires, as well as with the top black bar over time. And lastly, on the back here, we have this micro USB port that you would be using with this cable to connect it to your computer. So the first time that you connect your Makey to the computer via the USB cord, you'll just plug it into the top here, and you'll see that everything on the circuit board lights up. When your Makey is plugged into your computer, you'll see that nice light show up on the back indicating that it has power, and you'll instantly be able to start using it. And now we can use Makey with conductive items. Conductive items are objects that allow electrons to flow through them, different from insulators, which don't allow electrons to flow through them. And by using Makey, you can determine what around you is conductive and what is an insulator. For example, our bodies are conductive, so we could use our bodies to be able to complete a circuit using the Makey kit and to activate certain buttons on the circuit board. But even though our bodies are conductive, it doesn't mean we can just press on this and anything will happen. What we need to do is to create a very basic circuit. So even though the power is coming down into here, it's only moving one way. We need to channel that energy out through the device and then back into it. So if I were to hold on to this gray earth bar at the bottom to ground myself and allow electronics to flow through my arm, I could then close the circuit using my other hand by pressing any of these other buttons. For example, the click button. And there you have it, that green light has shown up right at the top, showing that it has been activated. It also works vice versa, so we can start the circuit by holding onto one of these buttons first, such as the click button, and then using our hand to touch earth. So same thing again, we're allowing the electricity to flow through us in a circular motion through our arms back into the device, and giving power to the circuit board. But of course, one of the funnest things to do with Makey is to connect it to various household items, such as bananas. By doing this, we're creating new keys for our keyboard that we can use to control video games, watch movies, or interact with sprites. So head on over to Scratch, create a brand new project, and I will meet you in the Inside Project view. Welcome back to the Inside Project view. So to begin today, we're going to go down to the extensions menu just at the bottom of the screen over there. And from the extensions menu, we're going to add the Makey extension. So if you click on that, it'll add it to your block categories right at the very bottom underneath my blocks. In the Makey category, we only have 2 hat blocks, and that's the when key pressed block and the when multiple key pressed in order block. So let's grab this first one and add it to our script area. Now that we have this hat block, we need to choose some actions for our sprite to follow when the space key is pressed. So feel free to use any kind of blocks that you would like. I'm going to probably go to the looks category and maybe add the change color effect block to my script here. So that now when my space key is pressed, just from my keyboard on my computer, my sprite will change color. But it would be a lot more fun if we could use something such as this slime instead for my spacebar. So we're going to connect this slime to our Makey circuit board in order for it to control my sprite. So we're going to connect our Makey device to our slime using this alligator clip. So we're going to plug it into the space key there, and then use the other end of the alligator clip right here to sync it into our slime. Perfect. But this is only half the circuit. Electricity is coming from the computer into the device and then into the slime. But in order to close that loop, we need to connect the slime again to our circuit board. And we can do that using our hands. So I'm going to grab the earth bar here with one of my hands and then close the circuit using my other hand here and touching the slime. Whoops, let's fix that. Oh, see, it's already working. Perfect. So if I use my finger to close the loop here with the slime, you can see that I'm influencing when the sprite changes color. I can even just squish it and it'll work. Pretty neat. So that we can go back to the Makey category and we can use more of these hat blocks to connect to the other controls on this circuit board. For example, the up, down, left, and right buttons. And we can start connecting these other buttons to other conductive items, such as this cucumber or this bread. So now we need to choose some actions for what these other arrows are going to control. So for the up arrow, let's say we want it to move our sprite upwards. So let's try changing the Y by block. And let's use that for the down arrow too. And let's use the change X blocks for the right and left arrows. Double check that you change the input spaces for those move blocks so that your sprite will be moving up, down, left, and right by using some negative numbers. So let's grab another alligator clip and let's try attaching it to one of these arrow keys. So let's use the right arrow first, right there. And we'll connect this one to the bread. And we can test this out by holding on to earth and then touching the bread. Perfect. Let's do the same for the cucumber. I have a green alligator clip here. Let's attach that to the left arrow. Let's do the left arrow with this cucumber. So now when I hold the earth bar again to ground myself, and then touch some of these other objects here, such as the cucumber, my sprite is going to move to the left, the bread will move my sprite to the right, and the slime will make my sprite change color. Let's try this aluminum can. We know that our slime helps change color, the bread moves right, the cucumber moves left, the aluminum can moves up, but we need something for the down. Let's try water. I have this nice glass of water right here. We're gonna drop that down. I got a nice binder clip here to make sure that stays in there. So now that we're grounding ourselves on the Makey, and when I touch the water, my sprite is moving downwards. And if you're having trouble navigating all of this, you can definitely use another alligator clip to connect to Earth instead of having to grab the device with your hand. So I could connect this alligator clip to the Earth bar at the bottom here, And after you attach the alligator clip to the earth bar, you can then use the other end of that alligator clip to ground yourself. Now the next step, of course, is to test this out on an actual video game, right? So let's go to the game we created in part 5 and see if we can control our snake as it's playing on the stage. Okay, here we go. So I have my snake game. I'm gonna look inside of it. You'll notice that in the coding screen for this game, I haven't used any of those Makey buttons. And that's perfectly fine because this is still thinking that the up arrow, right arrow, left arrow, down arrow is going to be what's controlling my sprite. It doesn't necessarily have to be those Makey blocks. So now when I go to full screen and I try playing this game, so grounding myself, and then we're gonna go up. Can we catch it? We got it! We got it! We're going a little bit faster. Okay. We can't screw this up. We're gonna go up. Left. Oh, can we get it? Can we get it? Can we get it? Can we get it? Go up! Yes! Oh my gosh, we're going for a new high score. Oh, left! Up! Right! We got it! We're doing so well! Down! No! I knew better! Alright. So we've seen how we can control our sprites using these various conductive items here. But the last project we're going to do today is to use Makey to create some interactive poetry. All you need for this project is some paper and a pencil. And what we're going to do is create some really dark pencil lines on the piece of paper and use those with our Makey. Graphite is conductive, which means that we can use it in place of bananas or cucumbers or bread to interact with our Scratch projects. And the idea of this project is that we will make each of the words on our piece of paper conductive so that when we press them, we can have Scratch respond to them in some way. So the key to this interactive poem is to connect your graphite drawings right to the edge of the page here so that you can use your alligator clips on the edge of the page in order to connect them to your Makey, such as this. You'll want your pencil lead to be really thick drawing on the page here. And then on our Makey, if we use the alligator clip that's connected to our spacebar from this mess of wires here and connect it to the edge of the page, we should be able to activate the space key in our Scratch program by just pressing on this graphite mark while grounding ourselves. So let's see. I'm just touching the pencil line right here, and it is causing my sprite to change color. You'll notice after a while that the pencil lead starts to kind of rub off and goes on your finger as well, so you might need to re-graphite it as you go through. And now that we know this graphite mark will activate our space key on our keyboard, we can connect it to a word. And then when I ground myself and press poem, it'll continue to activate my sprite. So now it's time to make this poem more interactive. So let's go to the sounds tab at the top of the screen over there. I'm gonna make it come up with a random sound. So let's ask for a surprise sound. A boom cloud. That's pretty cool. So let's go back to the coding tab. And I'm going to add a sound block to my space key press tap block. I'm gonna move this over to the side here. We're gonna start sound boom cloud. So now when I ground myself and press poem on my piece of paper, we get kind of a cool sound effect while also affecting what my sprite is doing on the screen. And we can keep doing that with as many different input spaces as we like. So I'm gonna create some more words for this poem, and we're gonna code those with a couple of different other sounds. Make sure that your lines on the piece of paper are really dark and all connected, so that even if you touch the furthest part of that word, it should still send the current through the rest of that graphite into your Makey. So I have all of my alligator clips connected now to my words, and they're all connected, of course, to Makey here as well for all of those different commands. And now I'm going to use my ground wire to connect it to the Makey circuit board and make sure that I ground myself before I start playing around with this poem. So we know that the first one works. Let's add some more sound effects to go along with these other words. So now when I ground myself with the alligator clip, we can start playing this very cool poem. So poem. Wow. Words. Space. And erase. You can even start swiping between these. So there you have it. But that concludes part 6 of this Introduction to Scratch 3.0. If you're not sure how to start developing your skills further in Scratch, a good place to start is by exploring other projects shared by the Scratch community. You can look inside each project to see what coding other people have used and learn from it and apply that coding to your own projects. You can even remix projects that are already shared on the Scratch website in order to kind of make them your own and explore different coding ideas further. Thank you for joining me on this Scratch coding journey, and I wish you all the best in your Scratch coding adventures.